This video will discuss a particularly important, overly complex and extremely sensitive issue of one of the fundamental human rights, the right to freedom of expression, which is directly related to the peace in Europe and in the whole world, especially after the recent events that happened in France. A common misconception that people have about this right, including France's very own president, Mr. Macron, what really is the right to freedom of expression and what is not, how the exercise of this right has been misunderstood and how it has been misused, rather abused, and how the exercise of this right leads to mental torture of over 2 billion people around the world.
Und all die, die dauernd behaupten, aber die Meinungsfreiheit kennt Grenzen. Und die beginnen da, wo gehetzt wird, da, wo Hass verbreitet wird. Die beginnen da, wo die Würde anderer Menschen verletzt wird. Und dagegen werden und müssen wir uns stellen in diesem Hause. Und das werden wir auch hinbekommen, meine Damen und Herren. Denn sonst ist diese Gesellschaft nicht mehr das, was sie war.
According to Article 10 of the European Convention on Human Rights and Article 19 of the United Nations International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, which is part of the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights, in quite simple words, the first part mentions that everyone has the right to hold opinions, views and ideas, and everyone has the right to express these freely, either orally, in writing, in print, in the form of art or through any other media. In the second part, which is the most important, most misunderstood and most neglected part, it mentions that the exercise of the right to freedom of expression is subject to special duties and responsibilities, with certain restrictions and conditions, or penalties as are prescribed by law and are necessary in a democratic society. These restrictions are mainly in the interests of 1. Respect of the rights of others, 2. Respect of the reputation of others, 3. Protection of public health or morals, 4. Protection of national security, 5. Territorial integrity or public safety, 6. For the prevention of disorder or crime. It clearly means freedom of expression is not an absolute right. It must be exercised within certain limits.
Freedom of speech comes with responsibility. And even Jacques Chirac, the former president, that we cannot call an Islamo-leftist, said in an official statement as a president, freedom of expression, yes, it is a human right, but it also comes with responsibility.
It needs to be understood that many people exercise this right without any duty and responsibility. So in fact, and at the same time, according to the same article, they misuse, rather abuse their right.
La deuxième chose, c'est que j'ai dit que je protégeais ce droit, parce que c'est mon rôle. Et que je considère ensuite que dans la société, nous devons accepter et ménager ce respect de chacune avec chacun. Mais il ne m'appartient pas à moi, en tant que président de la République, d'amoindrir ce droit parce que certains sont choqués.
So as signatory to both conventions, the government of France completely failed to impose restrictions on such individuals or groups or publications who draw, show and publish caricatures of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, and not only failed, but at the same time the French government's highest official, the President Emmanuel Macron, has defended the right to freedom of expression and said in an interview with Al Jazeera TV that
and I shall always defend freedom of speech in my country, the freedom to write, to think and to draw.
I will always defend in my country the freedom to speak, to write, to think, to draw, and linked it with their national values and liberalism. In Europe, Europe's highest human rights court has already declared blasphemy is a limitation to free speech. The European Court of Human Rights ruled in October 2018 that disparagement of religious doctrines such as insulting the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, is not protected by freedom of expression and can be prosecuted and subsequently fined.
The outrage with Macron is not necessarily that Charlie Hebdo criticized the Prophet, but that Macron is defending the vulgar manner in which it was done, the provocative manner in which it was done.
So Mr. Macron violated a decision of the European Court of Human Rights in the case of ES versus Austria, announced on the 25th of October 2018. Due to this action, the government of France have put their national security at risk and public safety in danger and failed to protect the reputation and right of others.
French Europe 1 Radio, French Interior Minister Gérard Darmanin said foreign families who object to caricatures of the Prophet Muhammad being shown in schools could face deportation.
To avoid the clash between civilizations and to resolve this issue permanently in an effective, legal and peaceful manner. It is therefore imperative that a case should be filed against the government of France in the International Court of Justice for violation of Article 19 of the United Nations International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights regarding the right to freedom of expression, and under Article 7 regarding torture, as Mr. Macron is causing mental torture to billions of people around the world, and according to Article 1.1 of the United Nations Convention Against Torture, torture could be a mental torture as well, and it is an absolute right. As the media is already mentioned in Article 19, therefore the Honourable Court should also be requested to define the role of print, electronic and especially social media platforms, along with internet providers, with reference to blasphemy of all religions is a limitation to free speech. Unfortunately, a case against any government can only be filed by another government and not by an individual in the International Court of Justice. The purpose of this case should only be for the sake of humanity, tolerance, coexistence, respect, love, peace, unity and interfaith harmony. We thank you all for watching this video and request that you share it in your network so this misconception about the exercise of right to freedom of expression can be clarified once and for all. God bless you and all the human race around the globe.